Hey everyone, welcome to another Level Logic video. Today I wanted to cover Monday's high of day, which was caught nicely with our statistical data. Also wanted to go over a new insight report which I'm developing and started to post for the Discord members, which can help give some daily bias based on high time frame wick sizes and the probabilities of them remaining that size or expanding to a larger wick. So let's get into it. Okay, so what was interesting about Monday was that we opened up, immediately expanded up, and left this low of the current low of the day as a wickless candle. Okay, so that was quite interesting, and I wanted to sort of dive into the stats around that and how common that is, that stays for the rest of the day. So what I did was I started to build this report where I can select the time frame. So in this case, the daily, and it's going to analyze my daily candles. So I've got the full history of NQ going back 15 odd years. So there's 4,408 days there. And this is looking at the probability that for the rest of the day, we're not going to make a bigger wick. And that only happens 1.7% of the time. Okay, so 98% of the time, based on all the historic data, we are coming back to make a larger wick. We're not leaving it as a wickless. Okay, so if we come back here and we look where we are, okay, we're at 10 o'clock in the overnight session. So what I can also do with this report is I can set a time aware condition to it as well. So if I say that we're at 10 o'clock at the 22 hour, I can plug that in and see the likelihood of us staying wickless from that 22 period to the end of the day and see if the probability is still good enough for me. So here you can see with that all plugged in, we can see 26% of the time it stays as a wickless candle, and 74% of the time we're coming back at some stage by the end of the day to expand on that wick. So towards the end of the report, this is what it shows me as a comparison. So I don't just want to focus on unconditional because this isn't dynamic, it won't change. So even if it's, say, we've got 1 hour left in the day, we could be miles away from that creating a new wick. Like we could be up really, really high, and this will still tell me that it's sort of 98% chance we're going to form that wick. So that's not that helpful. So we also want to compare that to the time aware condition. Okay, so obviously if we've only got an hour left in the day, this is going to significantly drop in probability, and will likely tell me that it's not likely anymore that we're going to create a larger wick. But looking at this, when we compare, we can see this is still both quite high probabilities that we will at some stage make that larger lower wick. And the key insights here, so it's saying unconditionally 98% of the time candles exceed this size, but conditionally at hour 5, 74% of the time we exceed it. So that is giving a pretty good bias for the day that at some stage, once we get all our other alignment, our other confluences, that can be a really, really good target lining up. Okay, so firstly, I like to look at C's, which is our internal and external percentile zones, to see what we're doing on high time frames. So if we look at the daily, in this case, we are really nicely trending down. Okay, so we're holding previous day highs. We haven't reversed yet to start taking out previous day highs. So we're going with the trend. Okay, so we're coming up and we're retesting these internal median plus zones on the daily really nicely. Okay, so you can see again and again we're just tapping above. Okay, and that's the point where we're at currently on this day as well. Okay, so now what we can do is we can add more to the chart as well, which is our open retest indicator. Similar to C's, but it is showing us the probability that an open is going to get retested and the extension away from that open before it does get retested. So I have alerts for these set up for every single one of these timeframes. Okay, so from 1 hour through to 12 hour, if an open is available and active to be retested and it has gone to its 50th external percentile, I get alerted to it. Okay, so all of these, the 3, the 5, and the 6 hour, I've been pinged alerts. Okay, so that is my way to know to start looking at the chart. Otherwise, I don't really bother looking because there's nothing interesting for me. because what I'm wanting is I then look up to see what's the highest probability. Okay, it's 71% is the highest one, and that's the 3 hour. So I change more over to the 3 hour time frame, and it gives me the 3 hour extension zones, and it gives me where that open is to be retested. So at this point, if I'm going to enter a trade, all I care about is this is my draw. I'm not looking to get into the high of the day or some massive trade. All I'm looking at is I want a nice distance here with a high probability that I can get into something and get to either a take profit so I can get something out of it, or a break even point. But I want this to be my initial draw so that the trade will initially go in my direction. I don't want the trade to immediately go against me, okay? So you can see there 71% to test that open. And based on the report that I just talked about, we've got this wickless down here where we've got 74% conditionally, so at the 22 hour, that this still gets taken out, and 98% unconditionally, so from 18 to the end of the day, that this gets taken out. Okay, so pretty good odds that this isn't going to stay the way it is. So as we also have some other more levels to be retested as well, we can change those over and look at those timeframes also. So because you can see that they're different levels, okay? In an update coming up, we're actually going to be starting to show all the available open levels if they're at a different price level. So you'll be able to have multiple targets if you like. So, but at the moment, we can change it over to the 6 hour, where we can see that nicely down at our daily open and our wickless point. We also have a 65% chance that within this 6 hour period, so that's where this zone finishes, that we're going to come down and retest that as well. So that's some more nice confluence adding up there. Okay, so here I've turned on mirror, which is our extreme range indicator. So it's telling us when we're aligned with the higher time frame in extreme premium or extreme discount. So you can see we've had a massive range over here, which is the 12 hour, that we're not quite at the extreme premium of, but the 1 and the 4 we are lining up here. Okay, so we've swept liquidity, and a new addition to mirror is that I have added high time frame confluence for breaks. So we all know that the higher time frame dictates more what price is going to do than the low time frame. But if we want to get a tight entry with tight risk on the low time frame, we need high time frame confluence. Okay, so we've already been through all that with our high time frame data, but when we get down to our entry, it's also handy to have some slightly higher time frame confluence to go along with our entry. So you can see here I've currently got the high time frame break set to the 5 minute, and we've got a breakdown here of the 5 minute, okay, a red box. So if we go to the next slide, what we can see now is, so where this box ends, that's where the break is confirmed. So that's where this box would show up, okay, and we've actually got 2 in there. We've got 2 nested, and you can see this is the 1 minute chart, so you can see that we're starting to break down these little demand zones in here, okay, and we're starting to hold highs whilst also sweeping internals. So once we get that 5 minute confirmation, that is now, and we've got all our other confluence of C's is above daily median. We have that draw for more to retest some opens that are lower, and we've got our final target, which is our daily wickless that we've got lots of data on. So this is now becoming a good entry pattern. So we come back up to retest this this red area, which I've manually drawn this grey box on here to show that where we're retesting. Okay, and we've got a similar sort of thing, but on the 1 minute. So we're starting to break down here. Okay, and once we get that break with the body closed below, we can then set an entry. So if we go back to C's and let the day play out and see what happened, you can see that we came down and created that wick eventually. Okay, so this is C's back on the daily. You can see we nicely went above that median up into the 50th to the 75th percentile area. We got our entry confirmation with our liquidity sweep, and we had that more 3 hour as our initial draw. So, I mean, you could have taken full profit here and it still would have been a nice trade and you could have been done for the day. but we also had these other targets. So we had our daily wick list, as we've been through, which was also our 6 hour more target as well. But what we also could have done is targeted things based on seeds, okay? Because we hadn't made any low yet, we still needed to make internal percentiles on daily Cs. Okay, so you could have targeted the median here or any of these internal zones, or you could have even targeted external, which we didn't quite get to. But yeah, any of this you could have targeted, but obviously really, really nice trade to be targeting that wick list with high confluence. Just so you can see, I'm not doing all this kind of stuff after the fact. Here's the Discord post, so 10:52, which was my time in Australia. That was at this blue line, and I posted this stat to the Discord that we were likely to take out that wick list at some point, and I showed the box area of what the report was actually telling me the size of the wick would likely grow to, so it would at minimum get to somewhere in this box. So yeah, so if you want to check out any of the indicators that I've spoken about in this video, head on over to levellogic indicators.com and hope to see you in the Discord.